Okay, so that was part one. Now we're moving into part two. Like, where on earth are we headed inside of the context of everything that we just saw? Now, I'm not crazy about reality, says Groucho Marx, but you know, it's still the only place to get a decent meal. Is there somewhere else we can go? Or maybe we can go somewhere else for a little while, eh? But we keep showing up here, right? Every day to get our tacos. And we love our tacos. So did Groucho until he popped off. He went somewhere else. We don't know where Groucho is. How about Buckminster Fuller? Hopefully we've all heard of Buckminster Fuller. So he's just an amazing guy. It is now highly feasible to take care of everybody on Earth at a higher standard of living than has ever been known. It no longer has to be you or me. Selfishness is unnecessary. War is obsolete. It is a matter of converting the high technology from weaponry to livingry, says Bucky. Now, I can't remember how long ago he died, but it was certainly many, many, many decades ago. So, and there was actually probably way smarter people than he, even though he was one of the smartest guys around. There's been plenty of smart people since. How come we haven't done that? We haven't done that. It's very, very curious, right? So this is the pill that everybody says that they want, but they just can't seem to swallow it. It's kind of hard to swallow this one. So, and then we have Eleanor Roosevelt saying, you must do the things you think you cannot do. So while you start contemplating all of these things and you're thinking stuff like, wow, this just looks way too big for me, there she is from all those decades ago saying, hey, do those things you think you cannot do. You must, she says, you must do those things. What a very interesting contemplation. So now let's start getting into some really nitty-gritty. I'm going to be giving you some very hard data today amongst everything else we're looking at. So here we have US price levels. I mean, this is charts. I mean, people often get scared by charts. Right? It's like, whoa, charts, numbers. Funnily, we're going to be talking a lot about numbers today, hey? And yes, numbers can be scary, charts can be scary, but really this one's a very, very simple one. It just says that basically this is the price levels in the US from 1774 to 2012. And look at this, that's like, none of us were around back then, but that was many hundreds of years ago. And look, it was kind of like, I mean, okay, they popped up when there was a war, the occasional war happened. You know, I don't know, humans seem to love having these wars. Actually, it's not the humans who do, by the way. But anyway, so there were these little wars, and then we have these other little hiccups here. But you can see there's basically this baseline going along like this until we hit like 1914. Actually, you know, like it looks like that because we all remember like 1914. It's like that's the year the First World War happened, etc. But there was something actually that happened 1 year before that was extremely significant to this chart. And actually, because you can see here that is actually the moment when maybe you haven't all studied chart analysis. I've spent 2 decades studying charts and how to read them. And what we see here is we see this is a higher low. So you can see that while the price levels went up, then they went back down, but they were not as low as back in 1913. 1913 was the last low. It was the last low when the Federal Reserve Bank was implemented under Woodrow Wilson's presidency. So that is a very, very, very significant moment in the world. And then price levels went up, and then they went down, maybe. And so by the 1930s, I wonder why. Hey, then we have the Great Depression. Fascinatingly, happens about what was it, like 20 years or like 15 years after the Federal Reserve Bank. And then after that, then we have the Second World War. Okay, things kind of go up. But now you can kind of see, there were these highs of pricing, of costs of living, the cost of living. And then suddenly, once we get past this point here, oh no, hang on. Oh, okay, right. Oh, what? Vietnam War? Hang on. What? Oh, okay. And then who knows how far it goes up? I guess we'll be finding out, right? So that's how the cost of living's been going. And then we look at this is another very interesting chart. Container freight rates. Container rates. You know how we live in this interconnected world of shipments and getting all these goodies all over the world? Well, once again, like basically the cost of shipments, this is very recent, December 2019. But you can see that even as the pandemic hit, it stayed very constant until about 12 months ago. And then for some reason, the cost of shipments just took off. And if you want to do some very interesting research, do research into shipments around the world and find out what's happening with the supply chain and the cost of shipping. It might alarm you with what is going on. Then what else have we got here? Consumer Price Index. So along with the, so we have the real compensation per hour and then the cost of living. So the CPI, well, this is the cost of living. It's going up, but it's not. The hourly rates are not a match for that. I wonder if we're going to have any problems. I wonder if the average people, are going to have problems. And what are this? Why government is basically never the solution. Well, in the 2008 crisis, they did a $700 billion bailout to the banks. And then more recently, under this forever QE, they've got these great words for quantitative easing, $4 trillion in the US economy, in the world economy. And so, really, where is this taking us? When you systematically reward failure. So what that means is that you reward the failures of complete irresponsibility. And what kind of results should we expect? Who wants to hear a little bit more from our friend Klaus Schwab? I have a couple of other little videos from him. And so let's just have a little listen to what Klaus has to say.
The fourth industrial revolution is a combination of technological breakthroughs which will completely change business models, society, economies. Fourth industrial revolution is coming with enormous speed and will change not only what we are doing, but who we are. The world will grow more together in the digital age. We are becoming more interdependent. We will have not less, we will have more globalization. But the question is, how do we master and how do we construct this new type of globalization? I call it globalization 4.0. It's a poison for society. We cannot leave people behind. We have to make everything to ensure social cohesion of a society, because social cohesion is the prerequisite for a democratically functioning country.
So he's talking there very interestingly, we can't leave anybody behind. Everybody has to be brought along into this new world. So then what else does Klaus have to say? Well, he says the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. So I'm sure pretty much everybody, I bet people here have got great imaginations. I bet we could all reflect and reimagine how we would like the world to be. I wonder if Klaus's reimagining is kind of in line with how we might be reimagining it. But you could find out, because Klaus, he's not hiding any of it. He's actually just written his new book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution by Klaus Schwab. If you want to know how they are imagining it to be, and maybe it's even more than just imagining. For all we know, they've actually probably got a lot in the works already. And so the Fourth Industrial Revolution will affect the very essence of our human experience. The very essence. There's not really mixing words there, is it? It's like, kind of pretty straight up. Thanks, Klaus, for being so clear. Then what else does Klaus have to say? In one form or another. Now, you've got to love his outfit for this one. I mean, it's just such a great outfit that Klaus has got here. When he's saying this bit. So, in one form or another, social and physical distancing measures are likely to remain in place after the pandemic itself subsides. Hang on. So it subsides. It's gone away, but we're still going to live like that, apparently, which justifies, that justifies the decision of many companies in different industries to accelerate automation. To accelerate the automation process. In fact, automation technologies are particularly well suited to a world in which people cannot get too close to one another or are willing to reduce their interactions. So long as we keep our distance from each other, that's going to help with automation. Our possibly lingering fear of becoming infected. So the lingering fear, even though it's subsided, the lingering fear of becoming infected with a virus, COVID, or another one, anyone might do, anyone, will therefore hasten the relentless march of automation. The relentless march. So really, it's good to study Klaus. It's very good, I think. I'm not giving you much of him today, so we'll just keep moving on because I don't know if that was of much interest to any of you. But how about this? This little tweet that they put out. Some of their tweets caused a bit of flack that they took them down. It's kind of sad. I don't know what you think of it actually. But this one here, you'll own nothing. See, look, they've got the nice little. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You'll be happy owning nothing. Is Klaus going to own nothing? I don't know about. He looks like he's pretty happy with what he's got going on, right? And he's not just Klaus. I don't know. I don't think we should hate on Klaus too much. I think he's just doing his job, right? He's just doing his job. Thanks, Klaus, for doing such a good job. But we've got, and you can't really see him here, but this is our other friend Marx here, and who I was raised to dearly love Marx, by the way. I thought he was pretty good when I was a kid. And so the theory of the communists may be summed up in a single sentence: abolition of private property. Okay. I am just the messenger today, everybody. I am just the messenger. I'm not actually even saying much about what I think about any of this. I'm literally, I'm just going to really just reflect back to you. Be the mirror. I'm just going to be the mirror. So here we have, this is a Danish member of parliament, and this is a tweet from WEF, World Economic Forum. Welcome to 2030. 2030, which is only a few years away, 9 years away. We've got 9 years. I own nothing. Have no privacy. Hang on. Hang on. They left that bit out before. Remember they said you own nothing, be happy? Now there's no privacy. So I own nothing. This is from WEF. This is Klaus has probably got a whole chapter. I haven't read the book yet, but there'll probably be a chapter of how no privacy is really good for you. So I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. So you're just living in glass walls. It's all happened. It's all going on. Everybody can see everything. It's great. And welcome to 2030. Now this is this Danish parliamentarian. Welcome to 2030. I own nothing. Look, hang on. So she's actually retweeting it. Oh my God! I think she was the one who said it. So now, okay, I have a little bit more for you. This is the program. It's a program, right? We're all part of the program. Yeah. So I'm just going to show you this next little one here, and let's see what we all think of this video.
It's at the end, what the fourth industrial revolution will lead to is a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities.
Relentless, remember? Didn't he say that word relentless earlier? Anyway, so there's more. They're only just getting warmed up, folks. So we're just getting warmed up here. So take some deep breaths because we've got a lot to talk about. So this year, July, actually, that's not that long ago, hey, the World Economic Forum and its partners hosted a simulation of a cyber attack on supply chains and the power grid. Remember how they did another one called Event 201 at the end of 2019? Remember that one? What happened after they did that one? It was like 30 or 60 days that something happened in Wuhan. So now they've just done this. Back in July. The exercise is called Cyber Polygon. You know what's so cool with all this? They've got a 5-hour video where everything is recorded on YouTube. You can just type in Cyber Polygon. Just type it in. You can watch all about it. Everything is there. This is the same World Economic Forum who simulated the outbreak of a coronavirus, which would result in a worldwide pandemic, suspension of civil rights, and paralyzed economies. And they did that in October 2019. So I'm just the messenger. I'm not even going to talk about it. Let's listen to Klaus. I think this might be the last one. This one's like just 1 minute, but he's got such gems. Do you think? He's got such gems for us. Klaus.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
A potential cyber pandemic. Wow. Okay, so let's listen to what Snowden's got to say. Remember, I'm just going to be bringing you quotes all the time. When exposing a crime is treated as committing a crime, you are being ruled by criminals. Surely not. Surely not. Okay. So how about this? These are some really interesting facts. So like the Allies, we defeated the Nazis. The Nazis. Well, Werner von Braun, he was like one of the top, as you can see, I think he was like a minister or something with the Nazi party. Well, he became the head of NASA. Walter Holstein, he looks like a general or something. I don't actually know, I can't really, but then he became the head of the EU Commission. Adolf Husinger, there, I think that's in there. Well, he became NATO's chief of staff. Kurt Waldheim, he became the Secretary General of the United Nations. Like, seriously, folks, like, remember, I'm often wrong, probably wrong about all this stuff, right? So, like, then we've got, like, Henry Kissinger, you know, who's still alive. Kissinger's still alive, right? He's, I think he's 100, or just almost, just thereabouts. So, now, if you don't know who Kissinger was, well, he was the chief of staff for Nixon. For Nixon. So Secretary of State, he was the Secretary of State for Nixon. So some people remember him very well. I was a kid. So depopulation. No. This is Henry Kissinger, who was the right-hand man of Nixon. Depopulation should be the highest priority of foreign policy towards the third world, because the US economy will require large and increasing amounts of minerals from abroad, especially from less developed countries. That was one quote from Kissinger. Another quote, this is a different one. World population needs to be decreased by 50%. Remember, I'm mostly wrong, probably often very wrong, hopefully wrong about these quotes. You should go look them up. Yeah, that's only a 50% decrease. Control oil and you control nations. Control food and you control the people. These are direct attributed quotes to Kissinger. So they say. What about the guy who was his boss? What about the boss? When they were working together. Oh, he's dead. So Kissinger outlived his boss. But maybe he wasn't really his boss. I don't know. Anyway, so Richard Nixon, 1994. When the president does it, that means it is not illegal. I was not lying. I said things that later on seemed to be untrue. How amazingly convenient. It's incredible. Oh, what about Gates? So this was a 2016 TED talk that Gates gave. So the world has 6.8 billion people. This is a while ago. Okay, that's headed up to about 9 billion. So Gates is a bit concerned about 9 billion people. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproduction health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10-15%. We could lower. Okay, thanks, Bill. And he was a member of the Bilderberg Group. So, what about US drone strikes? Hang on, why the heck? I came to a cryptocurrency conference, Barnaby. Excuse me. Why are we now talking about drone strikes? I'm a bit lost. Where's the crypto bit? Yeah, remember I said that was coming in part 5? We're in part 2. We're in part 2. So, because does politics, are drone strikes to do with politics? Is politics anything to do with money? I don't know. Let's just find out. What's going on with... So, remember that we had that awesome guy come in, Obama, and how he was going to help everybody? Obama, he said he was going to help everybody. Again, they don't mention the where, do they? He was going to help out, I guess, presumably the people in the States. Because like that, I don't think like that included helping out the people in Pakistan or Yemen. Because the drone strikes, I got to admit, I was never much of a fan of Bush. But he wasn't doing many drone strikes. I guess the drone tech wasn't that good back then, was it? Oh, that's what it was. The drone tech wasn't so good. So when Obama comes in, the drones, they get really good. Oh, wow. Oh, look at the number of kills you get. You get so many kills. Oh, but Obama, no. Like, see, what's cool, what's interesting with stats, right? This is Pakistan and Yemen. Who's been to Pakistan or Yemen? Really? Like, oh, somebody has. Okay, so it's real. Okay, so somebody here has been to Pakistan. Like that means that maybe it's legit. Maybe there are people there. I don't know, but down here, this one here, this 2017. Like, you know, because if you like Obama, that means that you don't like Trump, and if you like Trump, then you don't like Obama. But unfortunately, like, so let's say you go, oh wow, Obama really, I don't like him anymore. Killed too many people with drones. I'm going to be a fan of Trump. Oh, but hang on. Oh, but this is Syria. That what? And that's Iraq? But that's different to Pakistan. And how come the drone strikes really took off big time, even bigger than Obama, for all those people in Syria and Iraq? I don't know. Maybe don't look at stats too much, hey? It's a bit disturbing. So, all politics is a struggle for power. This guy, Wright Mills, I haven't actually looked him much, but you should always do your own research into everything I'm saying, because I could be wrong, right? So, all politics is a struggle for power. The ultimate kind of power is violence. Okay. Maybe that's what those drone strikes are about. The two most misguided notions held in America: our government wouldn't really do that to us or anybody else, and if they did do it, they would tell us about it on TV. So I guess we don't have too much to worry about, because they'd be telling us about it on TV, right? So we want to go back to Churchill. See, we have all these. That's why I designed this game, so that, because I kind of had this hunch that maybe if we looked at the past, into the history, we might learn a thing or two about maybe what's headed our way. I don't know. Maybe. This guy, he's a really interesting character, Churchill. He's not around anymore either, but you know, he said the farther back one looks, the further into the future one may see. Interesting. Good to contemplate. Thanks, Churchill, for that one. Here we go. Because when we're looking, again, we're going to go right back in the past. We're just taking leaves. All we're doing actually is just listening to what these guys, I think most of them are guys, are saying, and we're looking back. So now he says, look back. So we go back here. And you know the other thing that we looked at, the other price cost of back in the 1700s? And hang on. So once again, this is a really, US national debt and money supply versus consumer price index again. So the cost of living along with the national debt, and just weird again, like how it's like this baseline, and then it starts taking off a little bit, but you can't see it too much here. And the three key metrics here, we have national debt, the money printing in the billions, and the CPI. So hang on, so what we're saying, what the national debt and the money printing and the cost of living is just like a hockey stick. There's not going to be any problems, really, is there? I don't know. Let's, I don't know where it's going, but that's what we're here to look at, see where this might lead to. So, okay, hang on. My little, anyway, yeah. So then we've got Lenin. Lenin's another fascinating character. I personally, I'm just a history buff. I love looking at all these, and we have Lenin saying here, the best way to destroy the capitalist system is to debauch the currency. Do you debauch the currency when you print a lot more of it? I wonder. Well, look at this. Federal Reserve assets in the trillions, and they were already, like, look at that big jump. Oh, that was when they had that 2008 crisis. Boom, doubled the amount of assets held by the Federal Reserve Bank. And then it just kept on climbing. Oh, look, they went down a little bit. But then, oh, okay, their assets went up even more dramatically. And then over here, the printing. So hang on, the Fed prints the money that it becomes its own asset. Who would like to print their own assets? It's working for the Fed because their asset bank just keeps going up. Wow, they can do that. Maybe I'm going to show you how to do that too. Let's hold tight. But they can always count on this, right? Your ignorance on corruption is their power. I didn't write that. Oh, I do have another one. This one's going to be fun. I'll play this one all the way through.
The pandemic has radically changed the world as we know it, and the actions we take today as we work to recover will define our generation.
Now is the time to think what history would say about this crisis.
2020 has been challenging on a lot of levels, as economic, environmental and societal frailties have been laid bare. But it's also proved that when we need to, we can act rapidly and restructure our lives.
The recovery from the pandemic is an opportunity. We can see rays of hope in the form of a vaccine, but there is no vaccine for the planet. Nature needs a bailout.
You don't want to go back to the status quo. that you had before simply because it was the status quo that got us here.
With everything falling apart, we can reshape the world in ways we couldn't before. Ways that better address so many of the challenges we face. And that's why so many are calling for a great reset. A great reset? That sounds more like buzzword bingo masking some nefarious plan for world domination. Hands up, this kind of slogan hasn't gone down well. But all we really want to say is that we all have an opportunity to build a better world. And it's not surprising that people who've been disenfranchised by a broken system and pushed even further by the pandemic will suspect global leaders of conspiracy. But the world's not that simple. Every one of us has differing priorities, values, and ideas. That's part of why solutions are so hard to come by, and why we all need to be involved in the decision-making. Because whether it's politicians, CEOs, academics, activists, or you, we're all about getting people together, even those you may not like, to sit down at the table and develop solutions that work for all of us. But
we need enormous trust between the private sector and the public sector for this to actually work. That trust is hard to come by.
it's time for people to work together, listen to each other, and build this trust so we can move towards a better world. And we really need one. Because while the pandemic affects us all, it's clear it affects some more than others.
The first people who are hit are the people at the front, those who are vulnerable. It is those on the front line who take it first, and that is simply unacceptable.
See, at the start of 2020, 1% of the world's population owned 44% of the wealth. And since the start of the pandemic, billionaires have increased theirs by more than 25%, whilst 150 million people fell back into extreme poverty. And with climate change set to dwarf the damage caused by the pandemic, the message from 2020 should be abundantly clear.
Capitalism, as we know it, is dead. This obsession that we have had with maximizing profits for shareholders alone has led to incredible inequality and a planetary emergency.
But no one can do this alone, and top-down approaches won't get us anywhere, because everything we've learned in our work has shown us that diverse voices lead to better results. And it's for these reasons that the forum talks about something called stakeholder capitalism, which would shift businesses away from just profit. Because
if we want to change where the focus of our recovery will go, then we need a new dashboard for the new economy. And that needs to encompass people, planet, prosperity, and institutions.
Giving people a real stake in the economy and putting well-being before growth. And that's all about getting the right people in the right place at the right time.
We must rebuild our relationship with nature for the survival of the peoples and our planet.
We have a window of time which is closing, and we need everybody who cares to get together and find solutions now.
It's the people who have great ideas and who share them with others. They're the ones who are shaping the future. So if you want to be a part of the change, then tune in, turn on, and get involved. Follow the Davos Agenda, right here, online, on YouTube.
So all we have to do is follow the Davos Agenda. It's really just that simple. They just told us that we just follow the agenda. So am I the only one who did these growing up? Because it seems like a lot of people have forgotten how to connect the dots. I just thought that was great. I used to love doing connect the dots. Maybe that's why I like connecting the dots. I don't know. The world, now we're going to get a bit more serious because as if it's not serious enough. The world is ruled by power, and power is obtained by money. And this guy was a Polish writer, and he went to Auschwitz. He survived Auschwitz. Balbowski. The world is ruled by power, and power is obtained by money. And those who print the money, do they get the power? Well, I guess they do, right? What happens if you can print the money? Now let's listen to Lenin for a moment, because he's always got gems for us. Sometimes history needs a push. Sometimes history needs a push, says Lenin. There are decades where nothing happens. And I will tell you, folk, that you've lived the decades where nothing has happened. And there are weeks where decades happen. Buckle up. Us and the storm that is to come, delivered on our doorstep. Good old Rupert the Bear. I loved him as a kid. Okay, that was part 2. How are we going? Feeling excited? Okay,